Welcome to Kraken Casuals, where I take big budget games, look at them from all sorts of directions, and then throw them aside, and suggest to you something smaller, easier to play. This episode is brought to you by Fantasy. First, I'm going to start off with two big budget games. One that you've probably heard of, and one that maybe you haven't. There are quite a lot of similarities to these games. If you like one, then you'll probably like both. Both games start you off in a situation that conveniently causes you to have no personal belongings to your name. How wonderful. Skyrim keeps with the Elder Scrolls Classic, where you start as a prisoner, for a reason that is never really disclosed. Kingdom of Amalur, on the other hand, goes in a direction that I haven't really seen much of. You start off dead. Yep, you didn't hear me wrong. You start off as a corpse. Hard to imagine where they would go from there. But nevertheless, the show must go on. You then proceed to be told that you are the chosen one, and you must go on to save us from such and such cause for some reason or some other thing. And you are the only one that can do so. At least Kingdom of Amalur has an explanation for this one. You are brought back to life by the machine that the enemy elves are destroying in the very beginning of the game. In Skyrim, you are the Dragonborn! How and why? Well, nobody really knows. Perhaps your mom had a wild night with a dragon way back in the day. That being said, Skyrim does have a lot going for it that Kingdom of Amalur simply does not. Mainly this. It's really fucking pretty. And it should be, considering how long they spent on this thing. Both of these games have some unique combat aspects. In Kingdoms of Amalur, you have what they call fate shifting, where you go into slow motion mode and then stab the hell out of your enemies with a giant glowy weapon. In Skyrim, you gain access to numerous amounts of dragon shouts, one for every single occasion. Though, why you would not want to use fire breath for every single occasion, I don't know. I mean, embrace your inner dragon! Though, Become Ephraim is very handy. I do like the idea of being able to jump freely from a mountaintop and surviving until the bottom. Now, enough of that. I have droned on far too long about these two games, and they're not even the point of this video. I wouldn't recommend either for a casual gamer. Why? Because you'll never finish them. They take way too long. In the midst of all the diluted side quests, I don't even really know what the story is. They are really good for killing a few hours though. But never fear, I won't let you down. I've got some suggestions for you. You motherfucking phone. Let's look at the main factors of these games. You've got a fantasy/medieval style setting. You've got armor, swords, magic. You've got a lot of interesting monsters, from giants to dragons to boggarts and brownies. You have some sort of skill tree going on. And then of course, you have the ability to roam wherever you please. So my goal for this was to find an arcade game that was very similar to the two games' gameplay, but simpler and shorter. It turned out to be a lot harder than I expected. First off, I have Dungeons & Dragons Daggerdale. This game meets most of the requirements of the game, but it's very, very lacking. Everything about this game is lackluster. The story, the NPCs, the setting. If you were looking for an inventory fix, then, it'll definitely do the trick. But I was hoping for something a little bit more. So I began my quest anew. I never realized how hard it would be to find a game to measure up to Skyrim. Poor decision on my part. So I went back to the beginning, scrapped everything. I stuck with fantasy, but I went for more of a puzzle style game. And I wasn't disappointed. I present to you Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. Might and Magic Clash of Heroes is a puzzle role-playing adventure game. In the game, you play through the story of 5 young heroes who have been scattered throughout the land by an evil demon. This game is significantly more linear than the previous, but it does have the same air of fantasy and adventure. The one thing that does make this one stand out for the rest is its combat system, which isn't really combat at all. Instead of real combat, you play a sort of color-matching minigame that is far more addictive than it has any right to be. You line up units of the same color to create chains of attacks and help fortify your side of the board. Each character has their own special units and abilities. Though you don't have the full freedom to roam around this world, there are plenty of side quests and random adventures to be had. So much so at times that you feel like this game could use a little repel spray of its own. There is also loot to be discovered, which we all know is very, very important. And it has the basics down pat. It has fantasy/medieval setting, it has armor, swords, and magic, a lot of different enemies to fight. So, in conclusion, Clash of Heroes is my suggestion for the casual gamers out there. That doesn't mean, however, you should ignore Skyrim or Kingdom of Amalur. It just means if you expect to finish them, you better take a week off work and you don't move from your couch. Clash of Heroes is a good alternative to these high budget games, and who knows, maybe you'll reach the end of this one.